Okay, so yes, with that aspect, the moon squaring Neptune, the moon in Gemini and Neptune in Pisces, yeah, that is just, excuse me, let me just, yeah, that is just us trying to really feel out and understand our connection with how we communicate about our dreams and how we ultimately internalize and feel whether or not we are equipped with the necessary tools in order to manifest yet, because Gemini is very detailed in its nature to wanting to understand the ins and outs of what needs to be done, necessary to, and the necessary tools and resources to utilize what he has to Neptune bring a vision, realize a vision, feel a vision, bring it forward, kind of put it in motion so it can be grounded and be obtained here in the 3D. So, and what I'm looking just at the chart for the full moon. So I'm just basically seeing the aspects and intuitively picking up what I feel is the dialogue and the tone and the energetic influence that's being expressed to me with the chart. So let me go over the rest of the aspects that are going on with the full moon, and then I'll talk about the other aspects that aren't connecting with the full moon, that are out on their own, so to say. So, individually, basically both the two T-squares are the, wait, hold on. Okay, so that's about sums it up for the aspects that are connecting and impacting the full moon significantly. So now all of the other aspects, I'm just going to go around the wheel. I'll start counterclockwise. So above the moon we have Black Moon Lilith, and she is at 17 degrees Gemini, and the only aspect she's making is a square to Neptune in Pisces. And this is basically, yeah, just this frustration and this wanting to have even more of a release in a, not necessarily a reckless or intense way, but in a needed way, and almost like it's a desperate way. So Black Moon Lilith, it's desperate to have this release regarding Neptune and Pisces. So this is wanting to really have her visions and her dreams and her it's almost like her sense of creativity and artistry, and have it expressed through communicating and through making it somewhat social, where it can be inspiring to others, and it's connecting with others, and it is allowing for a certain kind of dialogue and a creation of almost filling in certain gaps that can stimulate some sort of connection and response from others, that can help others kind of pull out some of their own deeper knowledge, their own creativity, take it to a new height even, and elevate their sense of visionary intelligence, because ultimately that's what's needed with this square, is this sense of with Gemini, with Black Moon and Gemini squaring Neptune and Pisces, it's this sense of wanting to, have this desperate need to bring out a visionary intelligence and have that be socialized and inspired, so we can all kind of connect in that way and elevate our own sense of channeling and our own sense of having some clairvoyancy that allows us to pick up on deeper wisdoms that can be communicated and shared and networked. Yeah. So that's what I see with that aspect. Now with Rahu in Taurus 1 degree squaring Jupiter, that has something to do with the T-square, which I already went over. And it's making a square to, or it's actually opposing Mars in Sagittarius. But yeah, I went over that with the T-square. So we did the North Node in Taurus, covered that. So now with Uranus retrograde. Uranus retrograde in Taurus, which is 11 degrees. Okay, so we have the 11 degree influence, 11, 2. So the sense of, it's a master number 11. There can be a lot of strife and a lot of complications that go with the number 11, because it is a sense of mastery, so it could go either way. Depends on whether you want to embrace your power or not, or just kind of push it to the back burner because you don't want the responsibility of that. But if we take 1 and 1 and make it 2, that has everything to do with our feelings. It's related to the moon, and it brings a more intuitive quality, tone, temperament to this aspect. So with Uranus retrograde in Taurus squaring Saturn in Aquarius, and Saturn is actually Saturn, yeah, is still moving direct. It's 10 degrees in Aquarius. So Saturn, this is basically just tension going on with basically keeping the structural and the influential norm from kind of innovating and changing and individualizing and creating a new kind of pop culture. I look at this aspect, Uranus retrograde squaring Saturn, and with Taurus and Aquarius being involved, it's almost like this sense of kind of it's restructuring restructuring pop culture. So it's bringing this tension on the sense of where where our culture is being recreated, and how that framework looks. So if you think of pop culture, it takes a certain kind of tension and influence to transition into what seems to be a commodity or not, what seems to be popular or not. And this aspect is almost kind of reevaluating where our culture is going to how our culture is going to almost be formulated to where it's going to be liked, or where it's going to seem appealing or trendy. So this has something to do with pop culture and our societal trends, is what I'm picking up on, because Aquarius is very unique, individualized, innovative. With Saturn here, it's kind of trying to work with the energy to see where our culture is going and how that will become somewhat how the trends are going to play out, because that's important, because Uranus is actually in Taurus too, and it being retrograde, this is reevaluating what trends are going to be popular and how pop culture, this new pop culture, is going to be formulated, and what it looks like and how to structure that. Because, you know, Saturn in Aquarius, you know, is all about, well, how can I capitalize off of this this new this new sense of commodities and trendy ways of living that have everything to do with, you know, how we look as people, what we eat, how we live, what we live in, how we present ourselves, what we wear, you know, those types of things. So that's what I see with this aspect. And also with Uranus retrograde in Taurus making a trine to Mercury, which is 8 degrees Capricorn. I'm sensing that there's more of this, let's give it time and see how the trends and the pop culture and this new societal norm, how that gets influenced into the mainstream. So I feel like a lot of stuff is kind of in the basement right now regarding what's going to be appealing to us, what we wear, what we look like, what we live in, what we eat, how we live, what we drive. Just, you know, everything's like almost underground right now. And this is just giving it more time to be reevaluated, and thinking about it and seeing what kind of structure with Capricorn we can put around this new vibe. Okay? So yeah, with this full moon kind of overshadowing all these other aspects, because it's all about the full moon. With it in Gemini and Sagittarius, it's all about what is the vibe? What is the vibe? What is the look? What is the aesthetic? What is the vision? what is the magic in all this? How does it make us connect and communicate and express ourselves? And how can we, be action oriented and indulging in these pleasures of connecting, communicating, networking, socializing. So that's what I see with that trine. Uranus retrograde in Taurus, trining Mercury in Capricorn. And then the next aspect is, let's see what I'm going to talk about next. So Neptune, we already discussed, was making a square to Black Moon Lilith and Gemini. We discussed that, and is involved in a T-square with the Moon and the Sun. We discussed that. So moving on, Jupiter. Okay, we discussed the trine between Jupiter and the Sun. And okay, and then we talked about the trine with Jupiter and the Moon. So Jupiter is making a square to the North Node. But we talked about that also with the T-square. So we got that covered. Now Saturn. So Saturn, we talked about that already with the square to Uranus retrograde in Taurus. So that's covered. So lastly, what we need to speak about is our beloved Venus and our beloved Pluto. And they're basically in bed together in the sign of Capricorn, and they're still both, I believe it looks like they're still direct. Right now, Venus is 26 degrees Capricorn, and Pluto's 25 degrees Capricorn. So they're not making any other aspects, so they're kind of just off alone, doing their own thing, in bed together. Who knows what they're talking about, maybe pillow talk. I just feel like they're very cozy together, and with this conjunction, I feel like Venus is creating this energy with Pluto that's kind of almost taking a lot of the edge off of things, and Pluto kind of using this transformative energy to recreate beauty and the aesthetic in some way. So with these two energies, and them being in Capricorn, I feel like basically with this conjunction, how it's influencing this full moon and chart, it's creating, it's almost like this energy that is, for one, it's intense. Two, it feels good. So it feels like a good intensity. And it's full of desire and almost